Barakatah Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahushai. Shalak. Rayam. Wah. Ainash. Wah. Haragi. Wah. Mishpani. Wah. Gador. Mawat. Ow. Kor. Adawani. Wah. Kawaya. What? Ayab Yinawa. Baba Kashab. Baba Kashab. Shalak. Ash. Ba. Shem. Bayat. Baba Kashab. Shabar. What? Abad. Ayab Yinawa. Baba Kashab. Shabar. Ha. Makai. Shor. Ha. Ayab Yat. Baba Kashab. Sar. Ma. Kayal. Ba. La. Masapai. The water. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahushai. Shalak. Rayam. Wah. Ainash. Wah. Haragi. Wah. Mishpani. Wah. Gador. Mawat. Ow. Kor. Adawani. Wah. Kawaya. What? Ayab Yinawa. Baba Kashab. Shalak. Ash. Ba. Shem. Bayat. Baba Kashab. Shabar. What? Abad. Ayab Yinawa. Baba Kashab. Shabar. Ha. Makai. Shor. Ha. Ayab Yat. Baba Kashab. Sar. Ma. Kayal. Ba. La. Masapai. The water.
Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Hamashach Malaki Awashai. Right now, we're dealing with technical difficulties. The brother Kasadia, he's on it. Saying he's trying to get in the mix of everything that's going on right now. If brothers and sisters can't hear me, put a comment in the chat. That'd be mighty. Because Sane's trying to get in the mix of this, man. We gotta be aware of Satan's devices. So brothers can hear me. I believe we got one from Antonio Khan. All praises. And from I believe the sister Shalom Williams. Khan, Shalom. While we get this thing fixed up, we're gonna jump right into it. Get a quick precept through the spirit. And Lord willing, we can keep this live up. But if not, we will be dropping a new live, a new link, and brothers and sisters, hop on there. We have to remember these times and keep watching these times, man. Why? Because the Lord said this. This is the book of Zephaniah. Zephaniah chapter 3. And I'm going to start verse 5. It says, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. So the Lord says every morning he'll bring forth his judgment, man. Every single day you have things or events or even judgments that transpire that the Lord set in place. Why? To keep the sons of men, on the toes, man, for lack of better terms. So they're always watching. So those that fear the Lord, they're always remaining in that fear. They're not slacking off. They're not saying like the wicked say, there is no God. Where is the Lord? For as the times as the beginning, all things remain the same. You have men walking in those mindsets. So all praise to the Most High, to all the brothers and sisters that decided to stay up with us and watch with us on this Watchman Wednesday. And Lord willing, the brother gets back up there. But for the time being, we're gonna wait for the brother, and we're gonna get in it.
Con. Can Israel put a con in the chat if y'all can hear us?
They put Con already. They heard me.
Okay, Con.
Con.
All praise to the Most High. Yeah, that was we can pretend and act as if we don't know who it was, right? But we can say damn, I don't know what happened. Right? My screen went black. Damn
Right.
near computer shut down.
I
But
gave a sharp rebuke, God.
you said what, King?
I gave a sharp rebuke to him.
You see that?
To who that was. Yeah,
Right.
Con.
We know exactly who that was. Right? I'm gonna get this precept though. This is the book of Acts, chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 37, 38. This Acts chapter 5 and verse number 38, and it reads, it says, "And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught." Right? So if the things that we were doing, right, teaching the people, right, waking up the lost sheep, keeping you informed over the latest prophecies that's going on in the world, the current events, and so on and so forth. If this was of men, then it will come to naught. It'll be easily shut down and stopped. Brothers have been teaching for what, since 1968? Since 1968, the word has been going out in America. But of course, thousands of years before that, our forefathers, we spoke from the beginning. So let's read on. It says, "For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of Yahweh, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against Yahweh." So we know that this work isn't of men, because if it was, it would easily be shut down. But this truth is going to continue to go out. See, they can try to shut down this channel. They can try to shut down our live stream, but it's going to be another brother and another brother and another brother and another one and another one and another one until Yahweh B'Shem Mashak Womalak Yahushai returns. So it's nothing that they can do against us. And it's nothing that Satan could do to think that he could overthrow the ministry. Right, I'm going to get this precept, though. I'm going to go to Zechariah real quick, and then we're going to continue on with the lesson. Right? Zechariah chapter 3. Salakia. This is Zechariah chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 1. "And he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him." So we know that Satan stands to resist us, right? We understand that the spiritual demon Satan wants to overthrow us, try to stop the ministry. Again, he knows that his time is short. So what is he going to do? He wants to stop things like this from happening. Why would he want Israel to know what's going on in the world? Why would Satan want us to be able to communicate and go through the precepts, whether it's 8 o'clock in the morning or 10 p.m. at night? He wants to shut all this down. But guess what? He can't do that because this is of the Most High. Let's read on. "And the Lord said unto Satan, Yahweh will rebuke thee." So Yahweh B'Shem Mashagum like it was shy is rebuking the spiritual demon Satan. We understand that Satan works on behalf of the Most High on the left-hand side, but he's set up to be an adversary against Israel. And our job is to continue to resist the devil, and he's going to flee from us. So with that being said, like the brother was saying, I did listen in. All praises to Yahweh B'Shem Mashagum like it was shy. And we're glad that every brother and sister is tuned in right now and able to, go through the lesson we have prepared to let you know what's going down. If you saw the thumbnail, right, the thumbnail, we're going over, well, one of the major things we'll touch on tonight is the fires that's taking place right now in LA. But before we continue, Mike, you had anything you want to bring up? Or you on mute, King?
Slucky, la. I got
Okay,
my opening.
So I want to share the screen. So as you see on the screen, today's top stories, you have Los Angeles is on fire, right? The LA County's on fire. I believe right before I got on this live, it was saying that they're trying to contain. They have about 40% of the fire contained, but it's spreading to other states now. I saw Oregon, Utah, Nevada, right? They're talking about Hollywood Hills is on fire right now. So we're gonna go over that. We also came across a video that showed what looks like some chariots flying right through the fire in LA. So we're going to check that out. Also, the bird flu, which is the H1N5 or N1, something like that. We'll go over that. That's also the first case of death has been reported in the United States. We'll touch on that. And then also, we'll continue on with the second Esdras series. Right? So all praise Yahweh Shem Yashai. Did you have any other point you wanted to bring out?
No, loud. We can get right into it.
All praise to the Most High. So like the brother said, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to share my screen right now, and we'll get right into it. Let's do this thing. Right? Should be good. Oh, hold on. We're not good yet. I know we're not good. Okay, this is not what we want. Salakia. All right, bear with me. There we go. We should be good now. All praise to the Most High. Can you see the screen, King?
Gone.
So as you look at it on the screen, right, we have a few things we're going to bring up, right? But specifically, we're going to get right into what's taking place right now in LA. As you can see, it's trending, right? Hollywood Hills. You see on the screen,
so
that's a very...
that it is blocking the sun. You can actually see it.
Right? As you see on the screen, this was this morning in LA. Right? This morning in LA, and I'm going to get this precept, right? Actually, as we're looking at the screen, I want to go to St. Luke. Right? It's St. Luke, chapter 22, and I want to get verse 25. Because as we see the different things that's happening in the earth, we know, actually I want to St. Luke 21 and 25. But as we see the things that's happening in the world, right? These wildfires that's taking place in LA, the Zaporizhia conflict that's taking place between Ukraine and Russia, right? We're seeing the different so-called bombers that just took place in America on January 1st, so-called New Year. We're seeing these different things that's taking place in the world right now. Of course, the continual conflict and war that's taking place in the Middle East. Hey, we're looking at even Donald Trump being in office in what, a week or 2 weeks? So all these things, there are different signs that the Most High has on the earth. And one clue that you know we living in the last days is what the Lord said in St. Luke, the 21st chapter. So this is St. Luke chapter 21, and I'm going to get verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth. So the Lord said there will be signs in the sky to let you know what time you're living in. To let you know what time you're living in. Now you can say this is because of the smoke fog. You can say that. But I'm going to say this is clearly a sign of Yahweh Shem Yashai. Evidently. A red glow over the earth. Now we know this is the sun. If I'm not mistaken, this is the sun as the sun was so-called about to set. Right? And you see the damn dust clouds. But really when you look at it, actually I don't think the sun is setting because this man had tweeted and said good morning from Los Angeles.
So it's rising.
Right. So it's rising. It's not setting, it's rising. And as it's rising, this is what you're seeing. The first thing you see over in LA this morning was this sign of this sun with the whole damn city red. Right? With the whole city red. So again, we definitely want to touch on these different fires, but I'm going to finish this precept out. This St. Luke 21, 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. So the Most High is bringing distress upon these nations. These things, the level of intent that these things are happening right now in the world, whether 2020, 2021, 2022, to present day where we're in so-called 2025, is progressively gotten worse and worse, and real havoc is happening on the world. Right? LA, these deaths, I believe the death toll is at 5 people so far. 5 people have died from these fires, and that's just the bodies that they found. Look at the screen.
All these cars are wrecked up to where the fires were. So all these cars were just left here during the evacuation, massive gridlock. See, the fire went through here and even burned some of these cars that were left behind.
I don't know if the audio was playing, but you can see the footage of the cars, the damn trees. And this is a precursor of the different things that's going to happen to the rest of America. Right? But King, did you want to hop in there?
Con, and a quick point off that video, the brother he brought it out in Luke the 21st chapter. Hey, that looks like straight out of a scene, of Judgment Day, of the days of doom, of what we read about in the Bible, man. The book of Joel, in the book of Acts. Those things, we read about, we read about all this destruction and all these we read about the sun being darkened, and the moon turning red. When we read about these things and we're seeing them right here, these are all signs and of things to come. Let me get a quick precept in the classic, because we gotta understand what that is, man. And the brother he mentioned it. This video was a chariot sleeping there, man. In the midst of that fire, man. So we all know who did this, man. It's the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. Let's read this precept in Sirach, the 39th chapter. This is Sirach 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So when you have big events, you can say a building collapsing, a bus running into a bridge and blowing up that bridge. When you have an explosion at a nuclear plant, hey, all these things are the Lord sending spirits out there to do those things, man. And a chief one of these things is fire. We're gonna read about it. Let's read on. It says fire and hail and famine and death. All these are created for vengeance. So the Lord said he creates fire for vengeance. When you see all these forest fires, then I believe they I don't know if the number increased. You can let me know, but they said that they found 5 people dead.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's still 5.
I believe so.
Yeah, it might be more, man. You might wake up the next day and say 25 now. Hey, that's the Lord putting these spirits on the earth to cause havoc, to wreak havoc. Why? For vengeance, to appease the wrath, man. Hey, the Lord, he might just hey man, the Lord, he might just wake up, or not even wake up, but he might just be angry one day, man. And just send a spirit out there to burn up LA, man. While the children of Israel cheer it on, man. Because it's more destruction to America. It's another thing against America to cause it to crumble. So these wildfires in LA, they're from the Lord. We all have to understand that. A lot of people are saying, well, it's they say it's what they call it, environment. No, not environment. Global warming. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, they're gathering together. They're saying global warming. They might and next week they might do a damn protest, march up and down the street. A couple of scientists might get together. You got Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse. You got a couple other scientists. They might all get together and say, "Man, we gotta stop this, man." They might start pulling out. Well, how can we stop the forest fires and the global warming. Well, you can't stop this, man. You can't stop Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua from pulling forth his judgments and sending forth spirits to destroy America. You can't do it. Let's get a classic. It's 2nd Ezra 16th chapter. Let's get a classic. 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And I believe I'll start with verse 4. 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 4. And yeah, right to the point. It says, a fire is set among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are set unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood, or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it have begun to burn? So when these fires come, when these damn forest fires come, you know, LA being burnt down to the ground, the different states around it being burnt down to the ground, no one can quench it. No one can stop it. You know, they might be able to stop it for a moment, but they're gonna keep coming. And that's the point, man. There's no stopping it forever, man. Well, we're gonna put forth this new gadget to stop forest fires. No, they're gonna keep coming. Why? Because the Lord has it as wrath sent unto America. And he's using the spirits to incur that wrath. Let's keep reading. Let me pass it. It says, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues. And who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? So the Lord, he sends all the things that we see going on now, man. All the death, like the brother was saying, all the things that are ramping up in these latter times. Hey, it's the Lord sending them, and America, they can't stop it. No matter how much they want to act like they're in control, like they have a say, or they can do this or they can do that, they can't stop it. And these are the things that we're seeing day in and day out, every single morning when the Lord brings forth his judgment. But you got it out.
Calm. Mighty points, King. And we do got a little bit of news that's happening right now too. I do have on the screen just the signs of the fire from LA, but I want to show this really quickly. I want to show this. So this is about 2 hours ago. They're saying that, if you can see this on the screen, they're saying and I believe this is Texas, North Fort Worth in Texas. There's a substation, a power substation that's on fire. And the significance of this, if brothers and sisters know, you know, a lot of these substations are Chinese funded, really Chinese operated over in America. America gave China, they agreed with China, they allowed them to bring about a bunch of these substations that connect the U.S. power grid together. And I believe if only 9 of them are taken down in the United States, then the whole power grid can go out. So randomly, in the midst of this LA fire, you're seeing 9 substations, or Slakia, not yet, not 9 yet, Lord willing soon. But you know, one of them is on fire right now in Texas. And I got 2 other witnesses on this. Somebody else, they had said this is their video from the other side, right, of looking at it. It's on fire. And this is a third witness right here. Somebody just driving by. They said it's near their house, so they caught footage of it as well. Now, if you don't know this, there's been a lot of so-called ISIS troops and Al-Qaeda troops coming in from the border over between Mexico and Texas. So, I mean, who's to say that it wasn't one of them? And there's other things that's out there. Most I will make another video on it, because there's a lot of information coming out about Al-Qaeda planning some attacks all throughout the United States, right? They supposedly have a whole bunch of attacks planned throughout the United States, and you never know. Esau could try to blame us on this, just throw us in there and say we did one of these things. So we definitely want to keep our head in a swivel, and Lord willing, sooner rather than later, we'll have more information about this. But I just wanted to go into that just came about. I wanted to share the screen on that and talk about that. But let's go back to these wildfires, right? Let's go back to these wildfires. And I do got a few precepts on this. So Again, we said it earlier, but this is just a precursor to what the Most High is going to bring forth on earth. Right? You seeing footage of this? I mean, this looks crazy. Right? If you didn't know what the hell was going on, you would just, let's just say you wasn't paying attention at all. Right? You live in LA. You completely wasn't paying attention to anything that was going down. Right? You was worrying about your favorite TV show. You was knee deep into damn social media, and you just so happen to go outside and you see the damn sky completely dark red with embers of fire all around you, and you just thought you turned the damn heat up too high. You just thought it was on 88 degrees in your house. You look outside and you see a bunch of fire. Hey, that'd be a terrible time because you could have got caught out there. We said it earlier, about 5 people had died. That's reported. There was more people that died in this. How would they know? How they going to find these bodies? Look at the sky. I want to get this precept. So we know what the Most High is going to do, right, to this land, to this world. And we know that you or I or anyone that's watching, you shouldn't want to get caught out in that, right? Like I said earlier, I'm going to say it again. This is just a precursor to what is going to take place to America. This is Revelation chapter 18, and I'm going to start at verse 8. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 8. Salakia. And it reads, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh, who judgeth her. So we know that the Lord is judging his land. Right? We know that this land is defiled with all the blood of our forefathers. All the blood of the saints of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So this land has to burn. Remember, the Lord said that this, let me get this real quick in Isaiah. Right? There's two types of deaths you know about in the scripture. You have the first death, right, which is what? The world being washed away with the water, the flood. Then you have something known as a second death, which is where the Lord cleanses the world with the spirit of burning. This is Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 4. When Yahweh shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof, by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So yes, this would take place upon our people, you know, the 2/3 that's caught out there, but the whole world will be engulfed with flames because this world is defiled. And like we're going to go into in 2nd Esdras, the 4th chapter, the good can't come about until the evil is brought forth from the earth. And a lot of iniquity and evil has taken place in LA. You had the Watts riots in the 60s. You have a show called Them, right, on Amazon Prime. If you never checked it out, it literally goes into us being the Israelites. It goes into very specifically, the 9th episode talks about that, right? Esau, I don't want to spoil the show, so I don't want to do that to you. You should check it out. But yeah, that whole show is going into a Jake family moving from North Carolina and going over to Compton, LA, before Compton became Compton. And it goes into the redlining that they do in our communities. It goes into, of course, the hate and the evil eye that they bring forward towards our people, and how all that came about, and them trying to cause that family to turn crazy and then move out, so that they can keep their Edomite white suburban lifestyle. But of course, that didn't actually happen, right? Like I said, I don't want to spoil the show. Lord willing, you know, if you saw it, you saw it. All praise Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. But yeah, as you can see, right, this is a clear sign of what the Lord is about to bring forth. I want to get another precept. Right, Hold on. I want that right there. Right, let's get another precept. Let's go to the book, right, of 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 9, and I'm going to start at verse number 1. 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And this is what we're saying. We're seeing the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yashai begin to visit the world that he's made. Begin to visit the US. Begin to visit over in the so-called Middle East. Begin to visit Ukraine and Russia and all the nations. The Most High is bringing judgment on the world. That's the Lord doing that. These fires that's taking place, this wasn't just a what do they say that wildfires start from? Damn oxidation of the trees and embers, and they just start to, it's just so much oxidation and it just catch on fire. Where is that at? Where did the Lord say that? See, they can't comprehend the ways of the Most High, because like we're going to read in 2nd Esdras 4, the ways of the Most High are just above man. So they can't understand that it's the Lord doing that, because the Lord will have to put it in their mind to understand that it was him doing it. We can understand that because the Most High has placed it in our spirit to understand that. And if you understood that, then all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. Right? I'm going to get this last precept, then you got it, King. This is St. Matthew chapter 13, and I'm going to get verse 13. St. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 13. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. So they can't perceive the things that the Most High is doing on this world, on this earth, because the Most High has caused their minds to be blinded, their eyes to be blinded, their ears to be closed. We literally stand out there with microphones and they still can't hear us. You understand? Let's read on. It says, and the Lord is bringing these things, it's plain. We don't need to question who's doing this. We know the Most High is bringing a fire on LA right now. We know the Most High had those people in New Orleans, 7 days ago, 8 days ago, damn get ran through by that so-called terrorists. We know the Lord did that. We know the Lord put on the spirit of that Edomite to take a Tesla truck and in Las Vegas and then put a bomb in the back seat and explode it in front of the Trump Tower. That was Yahweh Bashim Shah that put it in that man's spirit to do that. Right? Let's read on. It says, in their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand with their heart and should be converted. So why would the Lord doesn't want everybody to be converted? Yes, tell your grandmother the Lord doesn't want everybody. He doesn't want everybody. Tell your pastor that he don't want everybody. The Lord chose who he chose and will choose whom he wants, because he's going to do his will. Everything is about the Most High's will. What's taking place in LA, that's the Lord's will. What's going to take place against the world, that's the Most High's will. What has happened in the past, that's the Lord. What's going to happen in the future, that's the Lord. Let's read on. It says, and shall understand with their heart, and shall be converted, and I shall heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Right, you got it, King. If you want to go into something else, if you want to go into that bird flu, or if you anything else you're gonna bring out, you got it.
Con, I got a quick precept, real quick. Con, it's the Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, and I'm gonna start at verse 10. Yeah, verse 10. Con. It says, but executing thy judgments upon them by little and little, thou gavest in place of repentance, not being ignorant that they were a naughty generation, and that the malice was bred in them, and that the congregation will never be changed. So the Lord, He's gonna do His judgments little by little. Hey, when we see these fires, man, and we see these small things that go on, hey, these are like I brought out in my opening precept. These are the judgments that happen every single day from the Lord, man. And these judgments are important to take note of. Why? Two reasons. One, Israel needs to hear it to fear the Lord. And the second reason is because Esau, they see these judgments, but they don't fear the Lord, man. Why? Because they will never change. That's what the Lord said. Well, I believe I read it. Let me read that one more time. And that the not being ignorant that they were a naughty generation, and that the mouse is bred in them, and that the congregation will never be changed. Now this applies to Esau, man. Esau will never be changed, which is why these judgments have to keep coming every single day to pass. They have to. Why? Because the Lord is showing, He's giving them a place of repentance, knowing that they will never change. So He's going to continue to judge them until they are ultimately destroyed, man. And that's what's going to come to play, man. Like when we see these fires, we know that's not the end all be all, man. That's not the final scourge. Yahweh Shema said, oh, look, man, Esau, man, I'm gonna get on you one time. One big fire, and hopefully you change. And then Esau said, well, Khan out of one. Khan Yahweh Shema, I'll change. No, they're gonna continue doing what they're doing until they're ultimately destroyed, man. Let's read down a little bit. Let's read down. Let's start at verse. Let's get straight to the point. Let's go to verse 20. Slucky, I'm gonna start at verse 22. It says, "Therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more." So the Lord is always scourging our enemies. He's always giving our enemies judgment, man. A lot of Israel says, "Well, man, why do I always have to go through it, man? Man?" And they always kicking rocks, man. Hey, man, when you think you're going through it, man, hey, man, these Edomites, they're getting it 1,000 times worse, man. Every small thing you go through, Esau is getting it 1,000 times more, man, through judgment. Not through chastening, but through judgment. So we got to think about that. Let's keep reading. And here's the point. It says, "Thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more, to the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy." So we have to understand that we're getting mercy. Chiefly Esau, this nation, they're getting judged without mercy. Why? Because the Lord knows they'll never change, man. But we gotta see these judgments, and we gotta say, "Hey, look, now it's time for me to change, man. Now it's time for me to get right. Now it's time for me to put away what I'm doing." Like I said, there's two reasons why we got look at these judgments, man. One, because Esau, they're not taking heed to it. They're going to be judged and destroyed. And two, because the Lord, He puts in our face for us to fear, man. For us to look at these things and say, "Hey, look at the Lord's judgment. Let me look towards mercy, man." Let me get one quick one. Let's jump a couple chapters later. Wisdom of Solomon 18. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18. And no, I'm going to start verse 5. I want to build it up. Wisdom of Solomon 18, verse 5. "And when they had determined to slay the babes of the saints, one child being cast forth and saved to reprove them, thou tookest away the multitude of the children and destroyest them all together in the mighty water." Of course, talking about the Egyptians. But again, it applies to America as well. Let's keep reading. It says, "Of that night were our fathers certified afore, that surely knowing unto what oaths they had given credence, they might afterwards be of good cheer." Here's the point. So thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies. And that's one of my favorite precepts, because it goes into how through all salvation has to come with the destruction of our enemies, man. So when we see these things come to pass, we got remember, think upon the works of Yahweh, man. Through his son Yahweh Shah. We gotta think about these works, and we gotta say, look, now it's my time to get right with the Lord, because that's where my salvation lies. When I see Esau's destruction, man, that's where my salvation lies in, man. And we will continue to see destruction every single day till the Lord calls us out of America, man. Babylon. Come to brother Yair. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise them up. And I will kindle a fire in the cities, and it shall devour all round about him. See that? The Lord's coming with destruction, man. And you can't stop it. Esau, you cannot stop it. All praise to the Most High. But Khan King, that's all I have.
Khan, all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai. So with that being said, we can go over these I want to pull this up on the screen. This bird flu, right? So this bird flu, let's share the screen and go over that. Let Israel know. So we know, what was that? Just 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Really supposed to be, I guess 5 years ago, right? From late 2019, early 2020. I believe we can say it now. I've seen other YouTubers talk about, they say people still use C19, but COVID, right? COVID. That was around. But now this is another big deal. And what is probably going to be even bigger deal, I should say, or I may say, as you can see on the screen, we're gonna actually, hold on, you can't see it on the screen. Let me make sure.
Khan, yeah, you gotta share it.
Right. Yeah. See, the problem is I have this pulled up already, but it's not. There we go. All right, so if you can see it on the screen now, should be good now. This is from NBC News. You can look at other sources. It's out there, right? It's definitely out there. U.S. records its first human bird flu death. A patient in Louisiana. I don't know what's going down in Louisiana. There's been a lot of things taking place down there, right? To our brothers and sisters that's in Louisiana, right? Definitely keep your head on a swivel. Like we just talked about earlier, you had that man go to Bourbon Street and kill about 12 to 20 people, right? Just took his car and drove into him, had IED explosives, Now you had, let's look at this madness. And that's why. It's a crazy spirit, wicked spirit that's down there. What is that? What is that? Anyway, it says a patient in Louisiana has died of bird flu. It says health authorities consider the case to be the first severe H5N1 infection in a human resident. Now let's go into it. It says the U.S. has recorded its first human case. It's like a human death from bird flu, a grim milestone that comes at least 67 cases have been recorded in the country. So about 67 different cases already. And it's the first time someone actually passed from it. It says the patient who was over 65, see that? Was over 65 and had underlying medical conditions. Because they get, this, now, I'm not going to say this person didn't die from the flu, but they were already over 65. That's normally the age in America where you start to see, loved ones or just people in general start to pass. That normally is around that time, right? Around the 65, 70, 75. Jake, that's just kind of, that's what it is right now, right? We know the world is becoming way weaker, and the food we eat and the different pollutions that they put in the world has over time broken us down. And ultimately it's of Yahweh Shemel Shai, who's made man weaker, like I tell you in 2 Esdras 14, right? And the book of Psalms. So let's continue on. It says the case was considered the country's first severe human H5N1 infection. The Louisiana Department of Health said the patient had been exposed to a combination of backyard flock and wild birds. And I believe they had a movie. I think this movie dealt with birds, Bird Box. Hey King, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you see that movie? Was it
Yeah,
about that?
Con. Man, Bird Box is when they had the blindfolds on their eyes. Am I correct?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was it like a was it like some birds? I don't know
No,
why it was
I
called birds.
believe this is a box that she was carrying.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it had any diseases though.
okay, con. Well, the point I was gonna bring up was it's very easy for them to put some type of disease in these birds and just send them amongst they can put it in the chicken. They could put in a lot of things. See, if the Lord allowed them to, Esau could just go wild with this one right here. So this is definitely one you want to keep watch of. And I know you say you had something as well that you wanted to bring out on this. But
Con,
definitely Israel, keep your head on a swivel with these different things that the Most High is about to bring on this earth. Let me get a precept, then I'll pass it to you, King. Let's go to
con,
Ezekiel. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel. It's one of my closing precepts, but then I'm gonna jump down after this. Right? This is Ezekiel chapter 7, and I'm gonna get verse 6. I start at 5. It says, Thus said Yahweh, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. So the Lord said, only evil is going to come on the earth. We're not in the times of peace. We're not in the times of love and serenity. And everybody all across the earth is, everybody has everyone's hand, and we're all around the world singing what is that song they sung with Michael Jackson back in the day? Save the world, whatever that song was, where everybody kind of all the top musicians they got together, they all made a song and they talking about saving the world and loving one another. That's not what the Lord is doing. That's not the time we about to live in. Right? Only evil is about to take place in the world. Again, look at LA. Let's read on. It says, "An end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come." And I'm gonna jump down. Actually, I'm gonna read on. The morning is come unto thee, O thou that dwellest in the land. The time is come, the day of trouble is near, and not the sounding again of the mountains. So we letting you know this is not like it's not a broken record, right? It really isn't, right? It's not a broken record. The Lord has sent us to say this, but nevertheless, don't take it as if this isn't a time to get your spirit right, because it is. We don't have 2030 to try to get right. You don't have 2100 to get right. And you got this so-called 2025 right now. You got January 8th, 2025 to throw prayers up to the Lord and to have a better day tomorrow, if you're permitted to have tomorrow, than you did the day before. To have a better today than you did yesterday and a week before and a week before that. Another day to repent and ask for grace and mercy of Yahweh Shem Yashai, because again, only evil is about to take place in the world. I'm going to jump to verse 15. It says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. Now, what does without mean? When the Lord is talking about without, a lot of times in the scriptures, when you go into the Hebrew or the Hebrew of this word, is really talking about outside. So outside of America, you're going to see, even outside of your cities, there's going to be a lot of, they call it infighting, right? You even have, of course, wars taking place outside of this country, right? You're having global sedition taking place in the world. But what? The Lord said, and the pestilence and the famine within. So you're going to have pestilence take place in this country. You're going to have famine take place in this country. And you might even have those things take place in your house. I don't know if I don't think no one talked about it, but there about a week ago, there was this strange, weird, thick fog that was out in the United States. And we was in Maryland. We was driving back from congregating, and it was this damn fog that was out there. And I looked at a few reports. A lot of people said on the East Coast and in Minnesota that when they came across this fog, immediately they felt sick to their stomach, and they got a sickness and they had chills going down their body. Right now, I don't know what that was, but I know my household, we dealt with a sickness just recently. Now, hey, we know that this is a so-called flu season, right? Cold weather, right? It's winter time. But nevertheless, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lord allowed Esau to put different diseases out here right now in his time, especially with World War III about to brew up. The only thing you can really do to kind of quiet that down would be another pandemic, right? Another pandemic. So we want to keep our head in a swivel. Verse 15, I'm gonna read it again. It says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So you see that? But you got it, King.
Con. Hold up. Let me see if I can share this.
Come on. All praise to the Most High.
Con, all praises. Like the brother was saying, you know, we definitely. Oh, hold up. Sucky. We definitely want to keep watch, you know, for this disease. And I got something pulled up, you know, because and hold up.
Is when you ready, you gotta I see your screen, but you don't have nothing pulled up yet.
Okay, con.
There you go.
There we go. And what I got pulled up, you know, and I'm gonna be honest. Someone could prove me wrong, but I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see any major news outlet really cover this or really talk about this. You know, if brothers or sisters could prove me wrong, they could prove me wrong. They could say, "Well, I heard it on Fox, I heard it on CNN, I heard it on I believe BNO, I believe, or wherever. I heard it on some major news outlet, but me personally, I never heard of it. I had to do some digging, you know, to find this out, man, about the bird flu. You know, because we know this one report pops up that one person died. You know, and we're finding out that they're over the age of 65. And just what 2 days ago, it says this: HHS awards 306 million to support H5N1 bird flu response. And that's a large number. That's a large number. You know, I forgot how much they did with COVID. You know, actually, Kasai, if you can look that up, that would be mighty. You know, so we can compare the number. Yeah, but this is a large amount of money to support the bird flu response. And for those that are those are quote unquote or so called conspiracy theorists, man, you're scratching your head, man. You're saying, well, why would they worth $305 million for the bird flu response, man? Where's that money going to, man? You know, what's this about, man? Why are they awarding this amount of money for one death, man? You know, more people die to the common cold, you know, than what went on with the bird flu. So what you have to ask yourself is, why would they do this? Let's keep reading. It says the Department of Health and Human Services, or the HHS, Health and Human Services, January 3rd, announced it is awarding approximately 306 million to support the federal government's H5N1 bird flu response. And I remember reading up. This is probably, I'll say, this is a man. When was this? This had to be. It was years ago. You know, they had this is years ago. They had a plan to award the same disease with $107 million, and this had to be at least 2 years ago, man. You know, I remember reading something on that. It caught my memory. I have to try to find that, you know, but if I can find it, I'll show. But these people, they're talking about awarding $306 million to support the federal government's H5N1 bird flu response. Of that, the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response will award nearly 183 million to support regional, state, and local preparedness programs. And we know what those preparedness programs are, man. You know, they're talking about vaccines. They're talking about mask mandates. They're talking about social distancing, people closing down stores. You know, then they had the maximum capacity limit in buildings. You know, if this thing pops off, man, you know, like it's looking, hey, you know, these things are gonna come back into place. Let's keep reading. It says including $90 million for the hospital preparedness program. You know, talking about when the hospitals get so called overrun with patients with the bird flu. $10 million for the National Emerging Special Pathogens Training and Education Center. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what that's going into. 10 million for a National Emerging Special Pathogens Training and Education Center. Let's keep reading. 26 million for the Regional Emerging Special Pathogen Treatment Centers. So where they'll be holding those at. You know, this will be for the I guess the training and education, and this will be where they're holding it. The centers. $43 million for the special pathogen treatment centers, avian influenza preparedness and response activities, and 14 million for the national disaster medical system. So now they're giving money to the national disaster medical system. So I mean, the money that they're spending, you know, and where they're allotting it to, you know, they're preparing for this. They're prepping for this to be a big deal. You know, so we gotta ask ourselves why is the HHS awarding $306 million to support the government in the bird flu response? You know, and just one day ago, you know, or I won't say one day ago, but in the last couple of days, you know, someone died from the bird flu. You know, and the brother sent me something. Let's look at it real quick. So it said the federal government has provided about 4.6 trillion to help the nation respond to and recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now that's a big number. Now what I want to see is the amount they if a brother could find it, the amount that they provided before COVID-19 came out, around the time where it was becoming a problem. You know, where they were preparing for what was the number they put out. That might give us a little bit of insight because 4.6 trillion, that's a large number, and this 306 million that could turn into 4.6 trillion real quick if it hits like it's supposed to be hitting. You know, let's keep reading. Let's finish this out. It says the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will award 111 million for monitoring efforts, and the National Institutes of Health will award $11 million for research into potential medical countermeasures for H5N1. So we gotta ask ourselves, you know, being spiritual and being able to judge all things. You know, can this bird flu, can it turn big? Can it turn into the next big shutdown? The next big government shutdown. You know, where the where what should we call it? Martial law is declared. You know, social distancing is enforced. You know, you can't leave your house without damn with this or that. You know, so they can damn isolate the damn Israelites, man, and come after us. We gotta have those minds and have those that thought process in our heads. Because I mean, why else would they be awarding that much money besides to damn money laundering, like they love doing? It's going somewhere to do something, and they know something. So keep an eye out, Israel. But Con, that's all I got, King. Unless you found that
Yeah, I did.
you
I
found that
did.
number. Con, go ahead.
I did. I found it, but I'm trying to figure out a way to put it on the screen so I can
I might have
share it. I think
to, I might have to stop sharing.
no, I can send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Oh, Con.
I'll send it to you. Actually, you know what? It might be better.
Yeah. If you get in there, that'll be good. I'm done sharing.
Come. All right, let's try this out. Let's share my screen. Right? Because I did find it. Lord willing. Shoot. But yeah, so actually, I'm gonna talk about it while we find it, or as I pull it up. It says that in May 2020, they actually in May 2020 actually gave about 350 million. So I know the number that you have for this current thing is 305 million. Is that what it
Yeah,
showed?
306.
306. Now watch this. I'm sharing my screen right now. I'm gonna make sure I pull it up. Right. So you can see this on the screen. So this is from the ASPR.HHS, the same thing the brother was going into, .gov, right? So it says the HSPR has provided a total of 350 million in emergency supplemental funding to support the preparedness and response activities and needs of hospitals. 350 million. This is what they did. So it says 100 million was rewarded as a part of the coronavirus preparedness and response supplemental appropriations act, right? And dispersed to recipients through administrative supplements and a new notice of funding opportunity for hospital associations in April 2020. Now, that was the start of COVID over in America. That was really just a start, right? It wasn't really, I believe they start shutting things down in this exact month, like late
Con,
March to April,
Con.
right? It says an additional 250 million allocated as part of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, which is CARES Act, was awarded in May 2020. So I don't know if you want to continue on breaking this down, but you can see that this money is the same amount of money that they're giving out right now for this new disease. You want to go into that, King?
Yeah. And when you see that, that's when COVID, that's when it started kind of rearing its head. Where you're seeing reports and the videos of the people in China, that's when it really started rearing its head. And like the brother said, not too long after that, that's when things start shutting down. Then that's very similar to the 306 million we're seeing with the bird flu. Now, I don't know if you can pin the comment to, I believe, the one sister
Yeah, I was looking at her.
con
Which one you
what
want?
the doctor.
Okay.
You
This
know,
one right here?
yeah, yeah, the sister, she's dropping some supposedly she works at in the hospital, and she's dropping some knowledge of what was going on with COVID. And one of the things she's saying is that one of the doctors at the hospital she works at quit. He was an Edomite, and she thinks that he might know something. He might know what's going on. So that's just one thing we gotta be on the lookout for, man. There's no coincidence, or there's no small matter, and that's $306 million being awarded to then for the bird flu. There's either two things: it's money laundering, or they know what's going on. So you gotta keep watch for that. So don't let that slip by you, and you forget about it. Next thing you're in line with a mask on, getting a bird flu shot. Be watching, man. Don't let Esau sneak up on you and persuade you and bewitch you into thinking you need a bird flu shot. who trust in the Lord and we remember that these plagues are sent from the Lord. These pestilences are sent from the Lord. I'm gonna get a quick precept. I'm gonna get a quick precept for Israel, and we gotta remember, these things. These things. They're not gonna touch us, man. For lack of better terms, they're not gonna plague us. Let's say that.
Con.
This is book.
I had a quick point.
Go ahead, Ken.
Why you getting that?
Precept, yeah.
Cause on the screen, so the same sister, she had put this earlier. I want to talk about this. Sister, there's nothing to be afraid about, right? If you believe in Yahweh Shem Yashai, which is a precept the brother's about to go into, and we're gonna be protected from these plagues and pestilences, right? The Lord is always gonna have mercy on his chosen. So you gotta remember that, and you gotta be encouraged through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yashai, and don't be faint. Right? So a lot of things is going to take place in the world. Nothing even really happened yet for us to even be afraid. And if we're afraid now, of course things are not going to look too good for us in Jacob's trouble. So you want to keep your trust in the Most High, right? You don't want to fall away. You want to make sure actually, I'm going to get this quick precept real quick, and you got it, King. This is Genesis chapter 45. That's the spirit. We had went over this earlier on a leadership call. This is Genesis chapter 45, and I'm gonna get verse 24. So he sent his brethren away, and they departed, and he said unto them, see that ye fall not out by the way. So you don't want to fall out of this thing, falling out of the way that the Most High has ordained. The Lord has set these different plagues up, these different pestilences up. All hell is going to break loose in the earth. We're not here to tell you it's not going to happen. We're here to tell you it is going to happen, and you only can prepare yourself by serving Yahweh Shem Yashai. If you're getting nervous, you're getting weak, you don't know what's going on, you stressing out, you pulling out your hair, you worrying about the limited amount of food and stuff that's going to be in the storehouses. Remember, the Lord already told us that was going to happen. He said, and suddenly shall appear empty storehouses in 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter. So how could we be afraid of these things when the Lord already told us it was going to happen? If the Lord is doing it and he told us it was going to happen, the only person you should fear is Yahweh Shem Yashai. You got it, King.
Come. And this is the book of Psalms, chapter 91, and I'll start verse 3. It says, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. So remember, the truth is our shield and buckler. Like the brother said, the Lord, he told us all these things are going to come to pass. We have the truth. We have the knowledge. That's going to be our shield and our buckler in that time, man. Let's keep reading. It says, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day. So we can't be afraid, like the brother said. Nor the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 8,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee. So you might have 1,000 that fall down from the bird flu, and another 10,000 that fall to the a new damn strain, the zombie flu, something. You might have that. You might see that. You might see all the news outlets, people running to stores, ransacking, looting, all that. And look, the Lord said it's not going to come nigh to thee, man. When you believe and trust in the Lord and keep and adore to the end and keep his commandments and the faith to the end, the Lord will say that none of these things shall touch thee. Let's keep reading. So, okay, I'm going to jump down. It says to verse 10. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. So, sister, that was good knowledge, that you brought out. But like the brother said, don't fear. Israel, don't fear. You know, like the brother said, we're not here to tell y'all it's not going to happen. We know it's going to happen. But the whole point is to trust in the Lord. Don't fear. Fear the Lord. Don't fear the damn the pestilence. Why? Because the Lord, He created the pestilence. And the Lord, He'll give it to, the Lord will give that pestilence to whoever He pleases. And the people He pleases to give it to is those that don't fear. So remember, keep the fear of the Lord. That's all I got, King.
Con, I got a precept. This is Jeremiah chapter 33, and I'm gonna start at verse. I'll start at 2. It says, "Thus said Yahweh, the maker thereof." So we got to remember that the Most High, and I'll take the sister's comment off the screen, but we got to remember that the Most High, He's the maker thereof, right? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, He's the maker. Everything that we see that's taking place in the world, the Lord is doing that. We talked about that earlier, right? So we can't forget, even when there's pestilences that's happening in the world, when there's different, like we talked about, the storehouses becoming empty, different plagues is going on in the world. And guess what? The Most High, He did that. So we need to draw closer to the Most High in that time, and even much more right now. It says, "And the Lord, Slakia, thus say Yahweh, the maker thereof, Yahweh that formed it, to establish it. Yahweh is His name. Call unto me, and I will answer thee." So the Lord said in that time, and right now, and forever, we want to call on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right? Nothing should make us afraid, because guess what? The Lord didn't give us a spirit of fear. Right? So we want to make sure we calling on the Lord. We trusting in the Most High. We looking at these accounts that's written for our admonition. Let me get this precept in Romans, the 15th chapter. So these different accounts that we read in the scriptures, this is to build up our faith. Because the Lord said this in Romans. I'm going to get this Romans real quick. Chapter 10 and 17. It says, I'll start at 16. "But they have not all obeyed the gospel, for Isaiah said, Yahweh, who have believed our report." So we may be bringing this out to you. Isaiah brought this out to us. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, right? Even Noah, when he was telling the world, hey, to repent and get right, but the world didn't listen. So the Lord only saved Noah, his wife, their 3 sons, and their wives. 8 persons were saved because guess what? Those only 8 believed in the Lord at that time. Right? Read on. And the Lord had mercy on Noah. Read on. Verse 17. "So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God." So you only can truly start to believe in the Most High by hearing the words of the Most High. You believed in the words of the Most High. Now you can believe in the Most High. So you will only be afraid if you're really not trusting in the words of the Most High. Now you gotta look at that. You gotta think, well, hold on now. Let me get myself right. Because I can say I believe, but if I'm not bringing forth that work, I'm seeing damn things happening on YouTube. I'm watching a live stream. Brothers is talking about COVID this and the bird flu this and wildfires this. And hold on now, what the hell is going on? I don't know. Kind of getting nervous. I'm kind of scared. Well, hold on now. You're not really believing in these words then. You're not really believing in what the Most High is telling you is going to happen. We got to tighten up, right, as a nation. I'm going to get this in James. Right, real quick in James. Right, chapter 1, actually chapter 2. Right, James chapter 2, and I want 19. James chapter 2 and 19. "Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. But what wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?" So we can say we believe, but we have to back up that faith by the works we bring forth. You will know if somebody truly believes based off of the things that they do. So we need to examine the things that we're doing, and that will lead us to know, okay, am I really saying that I believe in God, or do I really believe in God? Right? So there was actually something else I wanted to go into as well. The chariots. Well, what looks like maybe it was chariots going through that fire. I got the video. I'm gonna share my screen. let's go into that. Right? I want to show this real quick, and then if we have some more time, we can dive into Second Esdras, the 4th chapter. So let me share my screen. Oh, hold on, I don't want to go all in that, right? But I believe I reposted it. Yeah, it should be on here. Where is it at? Hold on. I know repost. Oh, there we go. We got it. All praise to the Most High. So go ahead and turn that off. Can you see the screen, King?
La.
Oh yeah. You're right. Keep forgetting this damn thing. Okay. Now we should be good. Good now?
Come.
All right. So if you see the screen, this is a video that was actually on Fox News, but somebody had recorded it, and I recorded it from that person that recorded it. So look at this. So this is the fire. Oh snap! Hold on. It's the fire that's taking place in LA, and you're gonna see something right here dart across the sky. Let's look at this. I can't put it in slow motion, I don't think. Oh, I can. Let's try this out. Let's see if we can get it. Oh, that's perfect. All praises.
Do 0.25 out. The
Yeah,
slow.
yeah.
That was
I want to zoom in more. Let me see if I can't zoom in anymore. All right, we just got it. I'm gonna use my mouse to try to go across the screen. Oh damn, I didn't even see that part. Hold on. You're gonna see something actually dart across the sky right here first. See right here in this area. Darts across the sky. See that? And you're gonna see it again right here. Right across the sky. You see that, Israel? You saw that, King?
And yeah, Con. And remember, Israel, this is in slow motion. Yeah, that was going a lot faster than what you see on the video.
Right. I put it in 0.25. I'm gonna run it back one more time again. You're gonna see something first go across the screen right here. I thought it did earlier. Oh, hold on, it's not doing it now. Oh no, he went back. Let's go from the top. See, first it went across the sky. I run that back again. Now we're not saying this is Chariots, but if it was, we wouldn't be surprised. And you see right here. See that? See that? It's about to play it one more time. Last time we're gonna play it. Right across the screen. Now, let's get a preset. Right? Let's get a preset. Let's go to Genesis, chapter 19. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 19. And I'll start at 23. Genesis chapter 19 and verse 23. It says the sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Now, who was sent to Sodom and Gomorrah? Let's go to Genesis 19 and verse 1. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even. So this fire and brimstone that came down from the heavens was from these angels that the Most High has sent to measure that city, to examine that city, and to burn that city up. The Lord has sent 2 death angels to burn up Sodom and Gomorrah. And you see in the 24th verse, he rained down from the heavens brimstone and fire. Now, again, we're not saying these are chariots, but that was something. And if that was chariots, again, we wouldn't be surprised that's the Most High's doing. We read in Sirach, the 39th chapter, that the Lord has spirits of fire and brimstone sent out in the earth. I'm going to get that again real quick, and then you got it, King. Sirach chapter 39 and 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hell and famine and death And all these were created for vengeance. So these are all different spirits that the Most High has stirred up in the earth. Fire is a spirit. There's angels that bring forth fire, that shoot down fire, that's going to bring forth brimstone on the earth, that's going to melt up the world. And the Most High has all these things already ordained from the foundation. So what just took place in LA, indeed, could have been angels that stirred up. I mean, well, let's be real. The angels did that. Let's put it out there. The angel. Now, I'm not saying it's from those chariots, but that indeed was angels that stirred up those wildfires in LA. The Most High did that. And who did he use to do it? Angels. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what it is. The Lord had used spirits to bring forth that fire on those trees. And it burned up those houses. And it burned up some of those people. Burned up those cars we saw. That was the Lord that did that. And again, he used those angels to do it. And the Most High is going to do that again on the world. The Lord is going to send angels to burn up. Let me get to the last precept. Last precept real quick. He's going to send forth more angels in these last days. This is St. Matthew chapter 25. And I want St. Matthew 25. And I want to start at, I'll start at 41. St. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 41. It says, then shall he say unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, unto everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Now, actually, I want to start a little higher, right? Let me start at this whole thing is just mean though. I'll start at 31, right? St. Matthew chapter 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all his holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats, from the goats. So what is the Lord saying? Hey, it's actually going to tell you in the next verse, and then I'm going to break it down. It says, and he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So the Lord is going to set the angels on the right hand and all the nations on the left hand. And this isn't literal, right? The Lord literally saying, okay, y'all line up on this side and the rest of y'all line up over here. Like we damn in what is that called? Recess in high school, really elementary school. About to play basketball or one of those sports in the damn gym class. That's not what the Lord is saying. He's just saying when he comes and visits the world, which he's made with his angels, they're going to separate, right, the righteous from the wicked. The wicked is going to be burned up and destroyed. And the Lord says he's going to come back with angels to do that. So angels were set up, some for deliverance and others for destruction. We read in the 41st verse that what is going to bring forth those in an everlasting fire, meaning a fire that's going to consume on this world, known as the lake of fire, which is where the Most High is going to destroy all the man that was wicked, even the 2/3 of our people is going to be cut off in this world. It's not talking about hell underneath the ground, but it's talking about a place that's going to be on earth, right? Everywhere on earth, where the Most High God is going to burn up this world, right? But again, he used angels to do it. But you got it, King.
I'm going to get a quick precept. In 1 Chronicles 21. And when you understand the Lord, you understand that through, and we brought out in Sirach the 39th chapter, through the angels does the Lord create destruction. That's all throughout the scripture. Let's go to 1 Chronicles. I believe I'm on 21. 21 and 12. Well, I'll start verse 11 to get the context. First Chronicles chapter 21 and verse 11. Well, when Gad the seer came to David. So Gad came to David and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, choose thee, either 3 years famine or 3 months to be destroyed before thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtaketh thee, or else 3 days the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land. And here's the point: and the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coasts of Israel. So the Lord, He'll always send angels to cause destruction. The angels are the ones that are causing all the earthquakes, all the uproars amongst the people, the fires, the great fires that we see, landslides, tsunamis, tornadoes. Any those are all spirits of the Most High, causing vengeance in the earth, man. That's all throughout the scripture. The Lord will send an angel to cause that havoc or destruction. Why? Because that's how the Lord ministers. That's how the Lord ministers the spirits, uses the spirits. They don't just sit around in the third heaven, twiddling their thumbs. You know what I'm saying, man, I, it's a day off. It's a eternal Shabbat in the third. No, they're going to work, man. There are no these spirits are getting to work every single day on the earth. One's causing judgment over here, one's causing a tsunami over here, a hurricane over here, a fire over here, an earthquake over there. A shipwreck over there. An explosion over there. Hey, these things, they come from the angels though, because the Lord, He'll use the angels to cause that destruction. Let me finish it out. It says, well, yeah, I'm gonna read it from this part. In the land, and the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coasts of Israel. Now therefore arise thyself, what word I shall bring again to him that sent me. So the Lord, He'll use His angels to destroy. That's all throughout the scriptures. When Israel received destruction, it was through the hands of an angel. When these other nations receive destruction, it's through the hands of angels. And we gotta remember that. So these fires, like the brother said, whether that was a chariot or not, we can't confirm. We believe it is, through faith, but we can't confirm it. But we can confirm this. Those fires started from an angel. Whatever destruction you have on the earth is from an angel. Whatever destruction. But Khan, that's all I got, King.
Con, I had sent you something, King. I don't know if you saw it yet.
Okay, Khan.
Con. And I want to share my screen one more time. So most high willing, next week we'll get into we had a little bit more we went into tonight, but most high willing, next week we'll continue the second Ezra series and continue that out. I had a little bit more I wanted to show. Actually, if I can pull this up. Someone actually had reminded me. So I want to show this if I can. Hold on. Right, somebody reminded me. Salakia, give me one quick second. Right. Yeah, there we go. All praise to the Most High. So yeah, let me share my screen. So if you can see on the screen, yeah, someone had posted this comment. I'm gonna share this comment that they posted. Kiara, I believe that's how you pronounce the sister's name. Someone said, lightning already struck all those monuments on so-called New Year's. So if you can see on a screen, right, and I'm gonna zoom in, but this is on January 1st. Now, someone can just say, okay, this is just random. It's just random. It was just random, or it was Mother Nature that the U.S. Capitol, the World Trade Center, the Empire State Building were all struck on the same night. So-called New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, all coincidentally. Look at this. That was pinpoint accuracy. Pinpoint accuracy to show you what's about to happen to America. And I heard reports, there's talks that Al-Qaeda is planning an attack on the U.S. Capitol. I'll put that out there. There's a whistleblower. His name is Sean Ryan. He had this woman named Sarah Adams on his YouTube channel about 3 weeks ago. Go to his account, his YouTube account. She works. She's a CIA targeter. Supposedly she has intel. She gets intel about a lot of things before it happens, and she passes it to the CIA. So she has intel that the U.S. Capitol will be attacked. This is what she was saying. You know, I'm just putting that out there. We'll see if it happens. Lord willing, it does, right? But nevertheless, we see on the screen what the Lord did to the U.S. Capitol, and not just the U.S. Capitol. It's also the Empire State Building, right on the nose, right on the dot.
I got a quick precept too, Kim.
Con, I got you. And actually, I think the last one was the World Trade Center, and this is the Empire State Building right here. All of them directly on the nose. That's the Most High that did that, right? That's the Most High that did that. All praise Yahweh Shem Yashai. You got it, King.
Come. And like the brother said, that's no coincidence. This is Job 28 and verse 20. I'm going to start at 25. I'll start at verse 23. It says, Yahweh understandeth the way thereof, and he knoweth the place thereof. For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven, to make the weight for the winds, and he weigheth the waters by measure. This is the point. When he made a decree for the rain, and a way for the lightning of the thunder. So the Lord said that lightning has a way, man. You know, it doesn't just strike just unknowingly, or it's a coincidence. And the Washington Monument was struck. You see that? I remember seeing a video. Yeah, I believe that was a video I saw with the Washington Monument. It had lightning strikes on it.
Right.
You know, these things it's not a damn coincidence that lightning is striking these major buildings. You know, Esau, these nerdy Edomites might come out and say, well, they got the metal pull and the attraction and what they say, not polar. They say something else. Man, I kept forgetting those words of science. Yeah, you said what?
I said they say a lot.
Yeah, they said something like the magnetic pull to the lightning and the pull on the top of the Washington Monument. It had it had something the electron something. They might say something like that. They might say, well, yeah, that's what happened. You know, that's why that lightning struck. No, we understand that the Lord he directs the way the lightning, and the Lord is putting that lightning on that area to soothe it. You know, so all praise the Most High. You know, and we understand that's from the Lord. I got one more. In the book of Job 2. Job chapter, I believe, around 37. Job 37. I'm going to start verse 1. At this also my heart trembleth, and it is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He directeth it under the whole heaven. He directeth it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. So the Lord he directs where his lightning goes. So those lightnings going on those major buildings, that's another sign for judgment. You know, another sign to show that America, you know, they have a serious judgment coming to them. You know, for the actions that they did against the Lord. Con King.
Con, all praise to Yahweh Shem Yashai. I'm gonna get this. Guess we get a closing precepts. Like we said, Most High willing. Next week we'll go into 2nd Esdras 4. Then the following week, Most High willing, the Lord allows us, we'll do 2nd Esdras 5 and 2nd Esdras 6, and we'll just keep them 2 by 2. You know, because when you read 2nd Esdras, they kind of go like that. A lot of those chapters go like that. Like 9 and 10, they go directly into each other. It's like directly into each other. 7 and 8, the same thing. They're talking about the same thing. 11 and 12, going into the eagle and the wings of the eagle. They're linked up together. The 13th chapter is kind of isolated for the most part. The 14th chapter, the same thing. But of course, 15 and 16, definitely gonna need separate videos as we close out second Esdras. So most I willing, like we said again, next week we'll do the 4th chapter. If we could do the 5th chapter with it, then all praises. But if we can't, at the very minimum, that will continue next week, Lord willing. Right. But I'm gonna get this precept. Right.
You closing out?
Yeah, Con, you can close it out tonight. I'm gonna just get this precept real quick. Well, go ahead, you got it.
Con, yeah, you can close out. Yeah, Con, I'll get my closing real quick. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9. I'm sorry, with 15. Going into the classic. But Psalms 9 and verse 15. It says, the heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, and the net which they hid is their own foot taken. So the Lord said that the heathen are sunk down in their own pit that they dug. Hey, America, it dug its own grave, man. And they also sunk their foot into that grave. And the Lord, on the other hand, he's going to judge them for that. It's going to say that. Verse 16, the Lord is known by the judgment which he executed. So now that the heathen are sunk down in their own pit that they dug for themselves, hey, the Lord's going to execute judgment while they're stuck in that pit, man. Hey, America, Babylon, they're in that pit right now. They can't get out of it, which is why it seems like every single year, every single month, every single day, every single week, there's something happening. You know, the world, they're joking. You know, they think it's New Year's, but they're saying, man, they're saying 2025 just started. You know, and in their ignorance with them thinking that the New Year's just started. You know, they're saying, damn, 2025 just started. We already got all this stuff going on. And you're damn right. And it's going to keep getting worse as so-called 2025 progresses on. It's not getting any better. Why? Because they're stuck in their own trap. And the Lord is executing the judgment upon them. And that's how he's known. Let's keep reading. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. So right now, the wicked, they're getting snared in the work of their own hands. Right now, they're getting fire set upon them. They're getting famine set upon them. Death, poverty. All these things the Lord is sending upon them because why? They transgressed against him, man. They touched the apple of his eye. But King, you got it, King.
Con, all praise to Yahweh Shemi Shai. I want to get this precept in the Song of the Three Little Children. I'm gonna start at verse 18, right? Because we know what time we're moving in, and and that was a spirit that the Lord sent the sister to say certain things, so that way we could be able to, because she may be the only one that said it, but there may have been others watching this live stream tonight, and maybe having those same thoughts in our head, like, damn, you know, it's a lot going on. You know, woe is me, who shall deliver me in that day? Right? You may be thinking that. But guess what? I'm going to get this precept first, and then I'm going to go to Song of the Three Little Children. We got to remember this. We know that judgment must begin at the house of God first. We know that all hell is breaking loose in the world, and it's about to really turn up on us. So knowing those things, you got to really hold this to mind. And this precept, this doesn't expire. It doesn't get old. This is Proverbs 24 and verse 10. It says, it's like I'm in Isaiah, right? I want to go to Proverbs. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse number 10. It says, if thou faint in a day of adversity, thy strength is small. So you don't want to faint in a day of adversity. Meaning when all hell's breaking loose, now you falling away and you drifting away, and the Most High catch you up, and then you out there. No, you don't want to move like that. And you definitely don't want to move like that right now. Because if you can't handle the things that is happening right now in your life, whether you're dealing with financial hardship, maybe someone just passed, you having a real tough time, you can't get over it. Hey, if you can't deal with the things we got to deal with on this side of the world, how much more in the days to come? If you faint in that time, it's over with. There's no repentance then. It's over with. Right now, you have a time to repent. Right now, you have a time to change and be better than you was the day before. So this is the song of the three little children, verse 18. And now we follow thee with all our heart. We fear thee and seek thy face. Hey, the Most High God, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, hey, he's about to be known in the world. The whole world about to feel the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We just hope that the Most High has mercy upon us and upon you. But with that, of course, we're going to give all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Malak Yahushai, his brother Kesadia from W5 Jersey, Philly.
Brother Yatazamak.
Keep watching these last days. Kwame Yasharallah. Shalom.
Shalom.